Hey, everybody.
Good morning.
We really like our new intro,
I do
right?
love our new intro.
It's
It puts me in a
funny.
great mood.
Before we go on, you're singing along.
I'm like,
bouncing around. It's funny. Anyway, good morning, everybody. My name is Javie. This is my wife.
I'm Jessica.
And on this show, we talk about everyday topics, things that we all have to face. In order to help us build our faith and develop our character and take action towards the life we really want to live.
Right. And we go live in several places so that you guys can reach our show, whether you're on Facebook or you're on YouTube. And one of the things is that we go live into our private health and wellness Facebook group, our community in there. You can watch this in there, comment privately in there. And the only thing is, though, if you're going to watch from in there, that StreamYard link right there, boop, boop, you're going to see a StreamYard link in the description. Make sure you're hitting that StreamYard link, guys, if you're watching from our Facebook group, because it's a private group. It doesn't show us your name when you comment. So make sure you're hitting that every time, and that will just connect your name to us. Also, if you want to follow along on the study that we're using for any given week, any topic series that we're on, make sure you click that YouTube YouVersion Bible app link. And that's going to take you over to Bible.com if you're on desktop, or the app is going to download on your phone if you go click that on your mobile device. And you'll be able to follow along on the study that we're on. We always use devotionals or certain kinds of studies, topics that are everyday topics that we all face, like Javi said. So make sure you're clicking that. This week, we are finishing up our 10-part series on finding peace during your health battles, and really any battle. But we always start with health, right? Because health is the foundation of whatever else we're doing. Because if our health isn't in check, we can't do anything else. And that's the thing that happens is our health gets in check. All of a sudden we're fighting an illness or a diagnosis, or something happens, and everything kind of falls away and falls apart because our health is the foundation. If we can't do something because of our health, now we can't do anything, seems like. And we just want to make sure that to help you realize that you've got to start there and build your life out of that, because that's where you're going to find your peace. That's where you're going to find your foundation, your roots, and then you're going to be able to carry out whatever else you're doing. But that even starts with your faith, because that's your mental and spiritual health, and that creates the foundation for everything. So that's what we're doing here. We're here to help you with all of that. So this Finding Peace series has been really, really good. I mean, really good. I love that it's a 10-part series, by the way, because I feel like a lot of times we have 5-part series and it's like we don't get in enough. We don't dig in enough.
Right. We don't stay on the subject enough. Even though it's been 5 days, but sometimes it comes along, we're really deep in it, and we need to go deeper.
Yeah.
And then we're off to the next thing. So I like that we do now and then these 10-part series. We're not going to, just like what we were doing before, always stick to a 5-part series.
Yeah.
Even though it fit in our week pretty good. I think what I've experienced with doing this 10-part series is that we go through the first phase, the first week, and we really get to meditate and really marinate on all that information, what God has really given us, and how do I want to take action, and what does it really mean in my life. And we go through the weekend, and we really get to maybe start to apply those things, and again, pray about those things. And then here comes the second part of that series to take us even deeper.
Yeah, I was going to say, it really takes us to all these different aspects. Like today, we're talking about overcoming fear. And we've actually done a whole series on overcoming fear, which I've always liked because fear is such a trap. But real quick, before we dive in, I want to talk about something really quick in this next segment where we talk about, like what's been going on with us and in the world. Here's the thing, is that speaking of finding peace in your health battles, this week, we have started to go through all of our cleaners and like all of the products in our house. We have recently discovered that there may be some ties between like the allergies our daughter has been experiencing. We've talked a lot about her connective tissue disorder, her autoimmune issues. Our other daughter has sensory processing disorder. There's a lot of stuff going on in our house. Plus, heart disease, obviously.
Yeah, so, you know, those of you that have been with us for a while, you know that we often talk about what we're putting in our bodies.
Yeah,
Okay.
nutrition, all of that.
What are we taking in both physically and spiritually? Okay. And how that affects our longevity, our health. Okay.
Mhm.
But one of the things that was really brought to us, I believe God just kind of
Put it before us.
put
Yeah.
it before us and showed us again a little bit deeper things that we were ignoring, and those were the things that we were putting on our body, the things that we expose our external self to
Mhm.
also affects our internal life,
Right.
right? So living a more holistic lifestyle. Now look, I know that some of you, when you hear that word holistic,
Holistic
all right, you're
lifestyle.
picturing something
Totally different.
totally different from what I'm talking about. I am really looking at living my life in every aspect
Yeah.
as best as
Well, we've
possible.
done so many things for our daughter. Like we've changed her nutrition. She
Mhm.
exercises. Like we've gotten her off of most. I mean, she doesn't really take medications other than for her asthma because she's either allergic to the medications or they don't work. A lot of times they just don't work. They don't do anything or they give her bad side effects.
Mhm.
So we have to find other ways. And we did some research. We've been talking to people, and one of the things we found with one of our friends, it was like she found that she had taken all of the chemicals out of her house and she had an autoimmune disorder and she completely changed the symptoms that she was experiencing because she got rid of all of the chemicals like the bleach and the cleaners and even like things like lotions or I don't know hair like shampoo, but like all of the things that we're putting on our bodies or that we're
Yeah.
using to clean. And plus our cleaners in our house we found out have these like off gases, like they're
A-
just
And the thing
going into
is,
the air while
and it
we're
gets
living here.
worse as they age and uh
Oh,
you
like
know,
old cleaners.
yeah, and
Yeah.
we're going through what's underneath our sink, and we find things that we've had never really used, that maybe we used once and they're still there
Yeah.
years
We're
and
like, why
years
do we still
old.
have this?
Let's get rid of it.
And so we've been just like one by one, just like going through and replacing all this stuff with like more natural ingredient stuff. Like so, that's something that's a new journey for us. So we're really excited about it,
Yeah.
and it's all we've already started to
You know,
see differences.
uh, some of the things that we've changed out recently, what, maybe 6 months ago, we got off coffee and we went to tea, this tea type,
It's
uh,
called Ticino.
right, that
Uh
tastes
huh.
like coffee,
It's
and
called herbal coffee.
it's actually more flavorful in my opinion.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. And you could play with the flavors, and
They have a lot of
you could
flavors.
get really creative. So it's been really great. It's been really great for the digestive system too.
Well, and I was experiencing extreme acid reflux. It's actually what sent me to the hospital. I found out was now if I even like look at coffee, like I get
Yeah.
acid reflux.
But the reason why I bring it up, because you got this new fall spice. It's coming into fall. I know when it's fall season when my wife brings in
Yeah.
the the um the
I'm
spice.
the pumpkin spice white girl.
Uh-huh.
I'm just saying. I'm like immediately
But
like
there's
pumpkin
this
spice.
all right,
Yeah.
so there's this new one that we're going to try. We've been waiting for it to
Get and
come.
come in the
It
mail.
it you know,
Yeah, we have a new
we're
herbal
so
coffee.
impatient about
Shipping?
our shipping
Oh my
now.
gosh, yeah.
It used to be that standard shipping would take about a week or so,
Yeah.
and
That's way too long.
now it's way too long.
Also, I don't want to pay for shipping.
Exactly. We're so spoiled.
They are
But
spoiled now,
but
but
anyway, we have this new stuff called mud water that we're gonna try.
yeah, so we'll let you know how mud
But
water is.
I would like to know is if anyone that's watching, if they've ever tried that and
And
how they
what
feel.
have you guys ever done? Have you guys Hey, Annie's here. Good morning,
Good morning,
Annie.
Annie.
Hey, how are you doing? We love you. Hey, so, if anybody watching has ever tried the Ticino or the mud water, let us know because that's we're trying to again look. I'm a big coffee addict my whole life. Like I love coffee, like not just the caffeine, but like I'll drink decaf. I don't care. I just love coffee, but I can't anymore. I have to avoid it because of the acid in it. So I can't have any, which is just like so hard. Good
Yeah.
morning, Monica. Good morning.
But
But so now we're drinking tea, and I'm not a tea person either. Ugh, I don't love like brewed tea as much, like unless I'm sick. So we found this herbal coffee alternatives, and so Ticino is something that we do recommend, but mud water is the new one that we are going to try. Oh, let's see. Only mud water I tried was when I fell first face in the lake while fishing. Thanks, Larry. Hey,
I
welcome to
know
our show.
what company names their product
I know.
mud water.
Mud
I mean,
water.
must
And
be good if you name your product that, man.
oh my gosh, that's the best answer. But what it is basically just like, and I think they use some black tea in it, and then a whole bunch of other like things that they add in to make it taste like coffee.
Anyway, so why do we bring up all this? Like we said, we started recently looking at what do we have around the house that we're exposing ourselves to? What are we putting on our bodies, and what are we
And we
maybe
found
even
some
inhaling?
amazing products to replace this with, and
Yeah,
we're already seeing amazing results like with certain
yeah,
things with our kids. But we're gonna keep you guys updated on that.
yeah. It's really cool, but the whole point is trying to always refine ourselves, or finding
Definitely.
new ways to improve our lifestyle.
Yep.
Look, we all have habits and routines, but if you've known us long, we're all about you
Yep.
know trying new things and trying new routines
Yep.
to improve our lives. And I think that's what God wants us to do. I think God, of course, in a healthy way, um, really explore what we have around us.
Because everybody's different. That's the thing. We interview a lot of people. We also coach a lot of people, and by doing that, we have learned one major thing is that everyone's so different, and
Yeah.
everybody has something that works best for them. You got to
Yes.
learn your body and learn your house and learn your family and know what's going to work. I mean, not everybody's kids are all allergic to medications. Sometimes that works, but for ours,
So
it doesn't.
yesterday we were talking about tech, because our tech issues and stuff, and some of the conflict and
Yeah.
things that we've had to resolve between us, because we're both techies and we both are troubleshooters.
Yeah.
So she has her methodology, I have my methodology. And even when it comes down to even preference it with software, or how we want our desks, and how we just approach a
Yeah.
day-to-day
Yeah.
thing, where even within a marital relationship, things are different like
Yeah,
that, right?
absolutely.
All right.
Oh, I want to bring this up. Hey, I think it's important to venture out, try new things. Most people stay in the comfort zone. Actually, I was going
Exactly
to bring
right.
that up. Thanks, Larry. I was going to bring that up because I was going to say, actually, just a second ago, you took the words right out of my mouth. We have to get out of our comfort zone to get into a better comfort zone. Does that make sense? We can actually become more comfortable by solving issues by getting outside our comfort zone. But actually, a lot of people, we say comfort zone a lot. We like to say familiar zone. It's the familiar zone. It's not even sometimes comfortable. Why do we
Mhm.
call it comfort zone? It's more like the familiar zone.
Yeah.
Like you're only there because it's
Right.
familiar,
Yep.
not even because it's comfortable. You could be in pain, but you'll like defend that pain because
Mhm.
that's your comfort or
Yeah,
familiar zone.
about a year ago or so, a little over a year ago, we were talking about, we did a series about being uh, uncomfortably comfortable,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Where we're always trying to, we're not willing to just stay in that comfort zone and stay static, more being uncomfortable,
Hmm.
and that being our new comfort zone, and being uncomfortable while we're trying new things and venturing out. I was listening to uh a recording yesterday of someone's talking about, really that very thing,
Yeah.
that a lot of times what people do when they find themselves stuck. Why are you stuck? Well, you're oftentimes you find yourself stuck because when you try to venture out and it becomes a little hard,
Yeah. Oh, and it's
uncomfortable,
uncomfortable or
right?
unfamiliar.
What do? You retreat
That
right
didn't
back
work. Yeah.
right back to that comfort zone
Yeah.
where you're more comfortable and more familiar,
Hmm.
okay? And then you wonder why you're stuck,
Yeah. Yeah.
because you're not willing to go through that uncomfortable period to try something new. You know, man, this now full week
Yeah.
of these technical issues, trying to figure out
Yeah. Oh my
everything
gosh.
we need to do is
We're
kind of reinventing ourselves here
yeah.
and talk about being uncomfortable, but really bearing through it.
What something that we've noticed, and this is a perfect segue right into our devotional for today, because we're talking about overcoming fear, you guys.
Mhm.
So, fear of what? Fear of the unknown, fear of being uncomfortable, fear of what could possibly happen, fear of the what ifs, all of that. And fear of going backwards, too. People get really stuck with fear of going back to what they used to be, or fear of never going back to what they used to be, or all of those things. Um, but it's all about sometimes God puts things in front of us that, like this week, we had to get out of our comfort zone of even just how we're operating our business and how we're operating our technology or whatever our setup happens to be with broadcasting. We had to get out of that comfort zone and just figure out and troubleshoot, which we're really good at. Um, but it's like it gave us the opportunity to see new softwares that we needed to implement, new hardware that we needed to buy, different things that, oh well, we hadn't thought of that, and we had to do some research and found that there were better ways to be doing things we were doing. And sometimes God does that with everything, like with nutrition, with fitness, with medications, with extra, like family outings or travel or your job or your relationships, I don't know.
Mhm.
But God does that a lot. He's like, I'm going to mix it up for you a little bit, kind of stir things up, and then we're going to help you figure it out, but that'll give you the opportunity to get out of your everyday routine.
And in that,
Yeah.
in whether it's lifestyle change or things that we've been dealing with technical issues and everything else, one thing that's really common that stirs up fear is the financial aspect
Oh,
of
all the
having,
time.
maybe having to spend more money.
Mhm.
So this last week, we had to spend some money that we were really uncomfortable having to spend.
Yeah.
But when we stepped back and really looked at it,
Mhm.
how more efficient are we going to be?
Yeah.
So now that's giving me my time back, which has value. A lot of
More
times,
value than money.
when we think about putting money down on something, paying for something, we don't consider the time that we're saving
Mhm.
in doing that thing.
A
Okay,
lot of
why
times.
is spending your money wisely? But even spending your money wisely brings brings up fear, and you start thinking, well, will this work? Can I really stick to it? Can I real? Is it going to really show the results that I'm going to need
Right.
or want?
Well, and so how do you find peace in some of this? And I want to dive into our devotional
Yeah.
here, but I wanted to say that, sometimes God is doing that. He's mixing stuff up because he's solving issues you don't even realize you have.
Mhm.
How many times have we dug out or something surfaced in one of those uncomfortable situations where all of a sudden we're addressing an issue we didn't even know we had, and we're like, "Oh my gosh, this is what the problem's been." Or, "Oh, this has been causing this and this issue which caused that issue which we would have never known unless this came up." And that's something that God does all the time. I love that. Yeah, exactly, Larry. Time is the most valuable thing because, yep, you can't get 1 minute back. You can always make more money, but you can't get any of your time back. Absolutely. And that Javi Madrigal, you're a Panthers fan. He is not a Panthers fan.
No,
No.
come on now.
Oh, you talking dirty talk now. It's talking smack. Coming on our broadcast talking about the Panthers.
Talking about the Panthers. My gosh.
All right. We love you, man. Thanks for joining us. Okay, you guys, we're gonna dive into the overcoming fear devotional for today because this is really, really good. So I'm gonna bring this up. This has been
Next
great
time
already.
I'm on your show, I'll break out my
Hold on.
49er flag.
Hold on. Before we dive into the good stuff, we got more smack talk coming.
Oh my gosh.
Larry says no, he likes the 40 whiners.
Oh, here it comes.
Here it comes.
All right.
Here it comes. I love this so much. All right. Thanks, guys. We love you. Okay. Are we ready? We're going to dive in now. Okay. So it says overcoming fear. So many people think the opposite of fear is hope, courage, and strength. The true opposite of fear is actually faith. When fear causes paralysis, it not only quenches one's peace, but it attacks the foundation of that peace, namely our faith. So peace goes out the window when fear is present. Much of fear is rooted in doubt that God will be present, provide justice or help, or be capable of dealing with the crisis at hand. Faith says, yes, God is here. Yes, God will provide. And yes, God is capable of all things. Much of fear is rooted in threats, sometimes threatening words, sometimes threatening behavior. Faith says, I will not be traumatized by threats. I will act wisely and not fearfully. I believe God will whatever the threat is, from ever coming to pass. And if the threat does come to pass, I believe God will help me deal with whatever is thrown at me. When Saul, the king of Israel, realized that God had taken his hand of anointing and blessing from him because of his arrogance and disobedience, and had placed it instead upon the young man David, he was furious. He began to campaign to find David and kill him, to remove this threat from his life in 1 Samuel 19. On the other hand, David felt threatened by Saul's army and on several occasions feared for his life. But scripture tells us that David was strengthened by God's promises to protect him and one day make him king of Israel. In our modern world, we often read of people who, in spite of intimidation by disease, accident, or danger, pressed ahead to uncertain outcomes, rejection, defeat, and yes, sometimes victory. Arctic explorers, Olympic athletes, missionaries, venture capitalists, and philanthropists come to mind when we talk about this. So threats do not have to stymie and cripple us. Our challenge in times of threat is to not focus on what might become a reality, but rather to focus on what we can count on being true. Many people living under a dark cloud of threat today, some or are living under a dark cloud of threat today. Some are experiencing the threat of disease. Some are facing the threats of injury to their children, and some are facing threats um, uh, relating to the loss of their job. And actually, before we get to the end of this, some are facing threats of terrorism. Hello, I mean, there's a lot of things to be threatened by. The answer to all of these types of threats is faith in what we know to be true about God, about His love and care for us, and His ability to provide all that we need, especially His peace, which can help carry us through anything. So the verse today is 1 Samuel 19. And Saul spake to Jonathan, his son, and to all of his servants that they should kill David. But Jonathan, Saul's son, delighted much in David. And Jonathan told David, saying, Saul, my father seeks to kill you. Therefore, I pray thee, take heed to thyself unto the morning, and abide in a secret place, and hide yourself. And I will go out and stand beside my father in the field where thou art. And I will commune with my father of thee, and what I see, what I will tell thee. And Jonathan spake good of David unto Saul his father, and then said unto him, Let not the king sin against his servant, against David, because he hath not sinned against thee. He's not sinned against you. And because his works have been to you very good, for he did put out his life in his hand and slew the Philistine, and the Lord wrought a great salvation for all of Israel. And they're talking about David and Goliath there. Thou sawest it. You saw it. And you did rejoice. Wherefore, when wilt thou sin against the innocent blood to slay David without cause? And Saul hearkened unto the voice of Jonathan, and Saul sware, as the Lord liveth, he shall not be slain or killed. And Jonathan called David, and Jonathan showed him all of those things. And Jonathan brought David to Saul, and he was in his presence, as in the times past. I'm not going to read all of this; it's really long. But there's basically talking about how he was very threatened. In fact, actually directly threatened about his untimely death coming and his innocent blood being shed. And God had his back. God basically put somebody in there to intervene. So God always has something for us in this fear, whether it's disease, whether it's the unknown, getting out of our comfort zone, taking a leap of faith, taking risks in your business, doing the things that you need to do for your health, maybe taking a risk in a relationship where you're going out on a limb, of faith. And this is the thing, is that God has our back. And if we're making sure that we're walking with God, He's got a plan. He's going to show us the next steps. And if we're obedient, I mean, He's right there with us. We're in His boat,
Yeah, exactly right. I think again, we focus more on the point of fear, the thing that
hmm
that's overtaken us, whether, like we
Right.
were talking about, whether it's a health issue, or having to, have to come up with money that you don't have in order for you to move forward. Um, and guys, I
Hey,
apologize.
thanks, Larry. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate you.
Yeah, Larry, thank you very much. Hey guys, I really apologize if the signal's dropping out.
Yeah, if you're
Let me
seeing
know if you guys are seeing us okay, hearing us okay. Looks like we're still having that same issue. But anyway, we're gonna push forward. But the whole idea is that we focus and get so overwhelmed with our fear, we don't see the truth,
right, and
right?
that's exactly right.
And that's what the enemy wants to do. It wants to cause confusion and fear. So we again are separated. We're not operating in peace. We're not operating in our faith. We're not walking in faith. And walking in faith is just walking towards that truth,
Hmm.
despite what you may be fearful of.
Hmm.
Okay, but walking in truth that what God is with you. God
Right.
is stronger than all these different things.
Well, I love what it said in the beginning. Many people think the opposite of fear is hope, courage, and strength, but actually, the opposite of fear is faith. You can't have faith and be truly um, consumed by fear at the same time. If you're consumed by faith, you cannot be consumed by fear. It's the opposite. It's like flexing one muscle here. By flexing your biceps, your triceps cannot be flexed. You cannot flex both at the same time. They go in opposite direction.
Yes.
You cannot flex both muscles on the opposite side of your arm at the same time. And so it's like that. Like if you're operating in faith, it doesn't mean you won't be like worried or afraid, like something's not scary. I mean, like the thing doesn't stop being scary, but operating in fear is different than being afraid. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? So operating in fear would be making your decisions based on fear, making your decisions based on what could happen, getting consumed by fear, getting paralyzed by fear. There's a lot of times I've operated fully in faith, but it's scary. I've been
So
afraid.
so oftentimes we've brought up the analogy about which wolf are you feeding.
Yeah, you've heard
Okay.
that. Which wolf?
And and in this case, what are you feeding the wolf of fear in your life? Are you feeding that, letting it get stronger and stronger in your life? Or are you feeding that wolf of truth?
Yeah.
Okay. What's the truth?
Yeah.
What's the good? Are you putting back good in your life? The optimistic things, right?
Yep.
The things of God. Are you
Right.
putting God into your life more
Mhm.
and reading your word, in being in prayer? Okay. Focusing on what he has already done for you.
Right.
Okay. Or are you trying to uh are you feeding that wolf of fear and trying to project
Yeah. Projecting.
project
Yeah.
the what might happen,
Yep.
right? Well, this might happen and this might happen.
And you're kind of
And all
starting.
those things are based out of fear,
Yeah.
okay? Rather than, oh, well, things might happen, but this may turn out to be really good. And
Well,
if it does, then this and this will happen. And then you start thinking more optimistically, all right? So that's really when you're talking about it really came to mind when you're talking about the working different sides of your muscles, opposing muscles. It's really that, that
yeah.
which wolf are you feeding? Because whatever a wolf you're feeding is going to be the dominant thing in your life.
Right. That's going to be what grows. This is what happens when we when we have all
Okay.
these tech issues we've had to go
Yeah.
around.
Sorry about that. Let's see. 1 second.
There we go. Annie says that we were blurry for a minute. Hey, look, again, we're trying to get around these internet issues and stuff, but we're going to press on. But
Yep.
you know what? If something's coming against us trying to get our message out there, then we're just going to forget that. We're going to push through anyway. So I'm glad you guys are here. But I was going to just bring up before we let you guys go, I wanted to just bring up one last thing, and that's that sometimes when we you talked about it's right alongside what we were talking about earlier is God puts these things in place. It's like if we trust God, sometimes things seem like they fall apart anyway. When this talks about uh, maybe trusting God that He's going to see us through. But then what happens if the thing that we have fear of does happen? Trusting that God's there to help us through that. Sometimes we are like, God didn't show up because this thing actually happened, when actually that was the plan the whole time. But we thought we were trying to get God to avoid the pain. And when the pain comes, God brings us through the pain.
Mm.
Okay. And on the other side of the pain is when the true like glory and result and growth happens. That was actually part of the process the whole time, but we thought we were calling on God to avoid the pain altogether. But sometimes we're actually calling on God to help us through the pain to see the purpose,
Yes.
right? To experience the growth, to not let that pain be for nothing. So we can't just focus solely on avoiding pain. We know dang well at this point in our lives, if you guys have seen us at all for any period of time, you know that our big message is not, well, you're gonna go through pain. It's not that we're avoiding pain in life. That's just not how life is. There's so much pain that's actually necessary, and I'm not talking about abuse and trauma and all, and I mean, there's God has taken all of that in my life and turned it around for good. He's taken that all in his life. I've seen so many people go through very traumatic childhoods, well beyond anything I ever went through, and are now impacting so many lives and doing amazing things for God, because God has taken that trauma and turned it into a superpower of tenacity and knowledge and wisdom, and really put that to the fight for other people around that person, right? So they can fight on their behalf. So he's used it for that. Doesn't mean that was the plan, okay? But he's used it for that. And there's other times where it is the plan. For instance, there was times in your health, or like our daughter's health, where I can tell that that was part of the plan. There was things that they had to go through in their health. I know that I had to go through what I recently went through in the hospital. I know that now. I know there's definitely reasons why I went through it. And so I have to embrace that God took me right through it. He healed my body. He taught me a lot of things through it. And I know now that it wasn't about praying that God take me out of it, is that God take me through it. And so I want to bring that up because we have to trust that the truth is that God's got us, even when we don't understand what's going on, and even when we don't feel like that He's doing a work. It looks opposite. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I wanted to
Exactly.
bring this up. Oh, she sees you in your 49er hat. She was just saying she sees you clearly now. Our internet went back to normal. So anyway, that's been an amazing message today, is that when you are trying to overcome your fear, especially in your health battles, you're trying to figure out how not to be afraid. Understand that no matter what happens in your health, there's something that God has for you in it. Whether it was part of the plan or whether it's not part of God's plan that you would have to go through this, but He's going to take you through it. And the plan is that God is who He is. The plan is always that God is who He is, and that He can take anything you're going through and turn it around for something powerful in your life. Period. There's never a wasted moment with God if you don't want there to be. And so the peace comes from knowing that nothing's a waste, and that you can definitely get something out of any situation with God.
Exactly right. Exactly right. All right, guys. We're going to let you go.
Yeah,
And I hope you guys got something out of today. If you did, please hit like and share this with your friends and family. We would really, really appreciate that.
absolutely. Look, if we don't do this as a community, we will not reach the number of people that need to be reached out there for getting healthy, getting right with God, and getting on the right track to wholeness, like whole wellness. And that's what we really want. We want to share these things with people that truly need it out there, you guys. And so you can be part of that mission. Another way you can be part of that mission is if you want to be a sponsor of our show, if you want to be a sponsor of this show, or our podcast, anything else that we're doing, we do have a place for you to support us. Jump over to javieandjessicamadrigal.com. Make sure that you sign up to be a sponsor there. You can sign up for it's as little as $5 a month. And we absolutely appreciate any of your support that you're giving, because it all goes into this mission of together. Your partnership means everything for us to be able to help the people we're trying to help. So thank you so much for that. Another thing you can do for yourself, or you can gift this to someone, if there's someone in your life that needs it. We have a 21-day challenge starting in September 6th through the 26th. We are doing these monthly, so you can sign up for these monthly. It's $97 for 3 weeks of coaching. We're walking alongside you. Just go to eliteninjaacademy.com/21-day challenge to sign up. And this is going to be a game changer for you if you pour into it. So we'll be doing
this challenge is going to be better than the next. We have new things that we're going to be trying.
Yes.
And
it's going to get better and better.
It's just going to get better and better.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We thank you for all of your support, and we love the conversations today. So do not hesitate to jump in with us tomorrow. We will see you tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for our next show.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.